I'm Dr. Srilata, today from GDCW Begumpet. Today I'm going to talk about the concepts and components of ecosystem. First, let us understand what an ecosystem is. When we talk about ecosystem, it usually involves the continuous but variable influx and loss of materials and energy. It is an open system. That means an ecosystem is a model where always there is an input of energy and loss of energy and materials. We can take Earth as an example for this ecosystem. It is a giant ecosystem, also called as biosphere. And here we see that abiotic and biotic components are always acting and reacting upon each other. So they do have some kind of an effect on each other. The biotic component affects the abiotic component, and the abiotic component in turn affects the biotic component. So you can take examples for ecosystem as, or you can divide the earth as a giant ecosystem into smaller ecosystems like forests, deserts, grassland or cropland, freshwater water bodies or marine water bodies. So these are all smaller examples or ecosystems which are in smaller definition, but please understand that you cannot differentiate structurally or functionally the ecosystem as a separate one, completely independent one. No. Since Earth is one giant ecosystem, all other smaller ecosystems are in turn interlinked with each other. So you just can't say that these are completely separate, but for our convenience sake, we have divided these into, that is a bigger ecosystem of Earth, into smaller ecosystems like forest, desert, grassland, etc. This is for our convenience. You have to keep that in mind. Now, when we come to this ecosystem, we should understand that there is a very high level of ecological integration, or you can say that there is such a lot of interrelationship between biotic and abiotic components in the earth that you have a very efficient energy-based and system which is capable of energy transformation or accumulation or circulation. You can see that energy is being absorbed and then being transformed and used for various other activities and then accumulated. It could be accumulated in the form of food material or storage material, and then it could be circulated to the next level. So you can say that it is highest level of ecological integration, and here energy is being transformed, accumulated or circulated. Now, since there is a very complex interrelationship or interdependence in these abiotic and biotic components, they form a beautiful functional unit. So you can say that unless these come together in a very proper manner, or unless the biotic and abiotic react with each other properly or in a said manner, you will not be able to see the functional unit in an ecosystem. Ecosystem, in turn, at the end of the day, we have to see that there is some output of the from this particular ecosystem. So the functional unit of ecosystem is only got when there are various types of relationships between these components. You can also talk about ecosystem as an energy processing unit. Okay, this energy processing unit is efficient as long as, or as far as it gets nutrients and water available. That is, the energy is there, then necessary nutrients and water should be available for the biotic components so that the energy processing will be efficiently done. So if you take an ecosystem, it has to have various other components which should run side by side efficiently to make it work as a functional unit. And to work as an energy processing unit, it needs nutrients and water. It is nothing but, an ecosystem is nothing but an overall integration of organisms and their environment. So now we come to the crux of the definition or concept of ecosystem. That is, it is nothing but it is an overall integration of organisms and their environment. So you can say, in layman's term, you can say that ecosystem is nothing but the reciprocal relationship between living and non-living things of the earth. So it could be an open system, it could be continuous, because here variable amount of inputs and also loss of materials and energy is seen. So this is a continuous and open system. Here you need to have inputs of energy and materials. Unless there is an energy and material input, you will not be able to maintain this open and continuous system of ecosystem. Now, since we have understood the concept of ecosystem, that it is an open system, it is a continuous system, it needs the input of energy and materials, you have to now come to the point where you understand about the components of ecosystem. Now, we have been telling that in the definition itself that ecosystems are nothing but the reciprocal relationships of abiotic and biotic components. They function in a very interrelated manner. Now, some of the important components of these are the soil, atmosphere, solar radiation, water, and the biotic component, that is a living organism. Let us understand about all these things one by one in detail. Now, soil, the first abiotic component is not such a simple sediment, but it is a complex structure where you have various forms of rock material or rock fragments. Then you have soil, which is holding water, organic material, and then living organisms also, and it is also a reservoir of mineral particles. So when you say soil, it is a complex structure where everything necessary for the plants to grow and for animals to take advantage of plants is available with the soil. Now, this soil provides nutrients, that is, that all the minerals are available in the soil. Then it has water holding capacity, that is, water for the roots of the plants are taken from the soil itself, and it is a home for various organisms, like you have earthworms, another mycorrhizae, bacteria, and then actinomycetes, fungi. All these things dwell in the soil, and it is a growing medium for organisms because of the presence of nutrients, because of the presence of water or moisture. Because of all these things, it becomes a medium, growing medium for organisms. Now, the vegetation found in any area is dependent upon the soil type which is present in that particular area. So you can say that the vegetation is a direct reflect, or it is a direct effect of the type of soil that is available in that particular area. Now, because of the nutrient cycling, the type of plants which grow in an area is very, very exclusive. The atmosphere provides, and then the next thing is the atmosphere provides all the organisms found within the ecosystem with carbon dioxide and for photosynthesis and oxygen for respiration. So the respiration is, that particular process needs oxygen for burning of carbon. But this oxygen is got only as a byproduct from photosynthesis, which is done by the plants. And then the plants take in the carbon dioxide from the air and fix it in the form of carbohydrates using the sunlight. So taking water from the soil. So since carbon dioxide is needed for the plants, and also oxygen is needed by all organisms, whether be it a plant or an animal, these things are present or produced in the atmosphere. And then normal physiological and physical processes physiological, for example, transpiration, physical evaporation, precipitation of water, all these things occur in the atmosphere or air present around the earth. Then the next important abiotic component is the energy which is got from the sun, that is solar radiation. It is used to heat the atmosphere and also to evaporate water from the water bodies, and the transpiration of water into the atmosphere, that is also done by the plants. That is also because of solar radiations. Then the most important thing, the most important physiological process which is the basis for life on this planet, that is photosynthesis, also needs sunlight. The sun gives, or the solar energy is the source of energy necessary for photosynthesis of a plant, which is done by the plant. And directly or indirectly, this food is the basis for all the life which is present on this earth. So the food is produced by the plants. The plants are in turn eaten by the animals, and the animals, the top level carnivores are eating the second level carnivores. So basically the source of food, that is photosynthesis, is got only because of the source of energy, that is sunlight. Now these are all the abiotic components. Now when we come to the biotic component, here you have all the living organisms coming under this particular component, that is biotic component, but they are basically divided into producers, consumers, and decomposers. Now producers are also called as autotrophs. These are the organisms that can manufacture their own organic material using sources of energy. Either it could be, the source of energy could be sunlight, or it could also be the chemical energy, that is the breaking up of bonds between various chemicals can produce a lot of energy. That energy is also used as a source. So either they could be chemoautotrophs or photoautotrophs. Now the nutrients are gotten from the soil. So the producers are those organisms which can prepare their own food material from the gases which are available in the atmosphere and the energy and nutrients. Most of the green plants are the producers. They form the basic level of the food pyramid, where they produce the food by photosynthesis, and this is used up by themselves and then passed on to other levels. Now the second part or second chunk of consumers could be heterotrophs. These could be divided into two major categories: herbivores and carnivores. Now herbivores are the ones which are the animals which eat the plants, or the producers. They depend upon the plants for their energy and nutrients, and they cannot prepare their own food material, so they are called as heterotrophs. These consumers are called as heterotrophs. And then the organisms which feed upon the herbivores are called as carnivores. So this is the basic level, and once these plants or animals have undergone various phases in their life, either during their life cycle or after their death, they shed the body parts or the material tissues, and these tissues are the dead bodies of these plants or animals, be it a consumer or a producer or a carnivore or a herbivore. These are ultimately decomposed or taken up by the detrivores or decomposers. So because they feed on the detritus, they are called as detrivores. Because they decompose the dead bodies, they are called as the decomposers. So these organic matter is consumed by the decomposers or the detrivores, and then the body, the minerals which are locked up inside the bodies are given back into the nature as inorganic nutrients or into the soil, so that the plants can use them again for their growth and development. So this basically is what we have learned today